Studio 666. I saw it last night. So I saw Studio 666 last night, and it's the Foo Fighters in a horror movie. It's very simple. They're going to this sort of house that has its own home studio where they plan to record an album where bad things have happened there. And some evil spirit is released. And Dave Grohl plays Dave Grohl, right? Like the other thing, there's a neighbor that's played by Whitney Cummings, or I'm trying to remember, like, I don't know. I had a bunch of Truly, some hard seltzers before I watched this film. So some details are foggy. So I don't remember if Whitney Cummings actually plays Whitney Cummings herself, or she just plays a neighbor. But what ends up happening is Dave Grohl gets possessed by this demon, and it's basically like Evil Dead with rock and roll. It's like an Evil Dead movie where Dave Grohl is possessed, and he's one by one kind of offing his bandmates in the most gruesome ways imaginable. If you see there's a Red Band trailer for Studio 666 that hit, and there's a death in it that involves Whitney Cummings where she's in the midst of having sex and dies in the most gruesome way you could have possibly imagined. I mean, the only way that this could have gotten made is really if Dave Grohl like wanted this. I kind of feel I get a sense just watching the film and seeing kind of his enthusiasm for playing like a horror baddie that I kind of feel like he, in a way, kind of co-directed or ghost directed the movie. You just see because he's in it, he's the lead character, and he's killing people in horrible ways. Like I mean, it's in the Red Band trailer, but you see someone just get fully like chopped in half, and then the two halves kind of go like this, and it's gross. There are other gross deaths as well. So if you like a super ultra over the top gory horror movie and the Foo Fighters, if you like that combo, this is a lot of fun. Is it a great horror movie? I don't think it holds up in terms of a great horror movie, in terms of it being scary. I would even say it's more of a comedic horror movie than it is a scary horror movie. I don't know at any point if I was actually scared. It's like, we know that's Dave Grohl and they're just having fun, and they're probably laughing harder than anyone at this because they just thought, well, let's make a horror movie and everybody die in gruesome ways. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's really sort of Dave Grohl's take on Evil Dead with horrible, gruesome deaths. So if you like that kind of thing, I actually strongly recommend it. If you like, if that's your thing, it's like, look, I saw it and it's playing in limited release, so you'll have to find it. But you know that the audience that was there, God, I sat next to these two women who laughed at everything, even the things that were not funny. It's like, okay, laugh when it's funny. They just laughed at everything somebody said. I'm pretty sure they had some edibles or they were high, which is fine. Why would you not see this movie? I mean,
well, I think people laugh because they're nervous sometimes, or they're, that's their coping mechanism for what they're saying.
Right.
I mean, when my daughter saw Suicide Squad, yes, I took her to see Suicide Squad. She was just, every time someone died, she would just kind of laugh, and to the point where I think I'm raising a psychopath.
Yeah, you might be, but putting that comment aside, but look, I had a lot of fun. Yeah. I do recommend. Look, I enjoyed myself quite a bit at happy hour at the Yard House before I walked into the movie. So that's what I did, and yeah. I'm 100% certain that the women sitting next to me, they were high. So it's the qualifier would be, if you like the Foo Fighters, you're a fan of the Evil Dead, you like over the top gory horror, and you like to get high and laugh at movies, this is the movie for you. Yeah. It's not going to win any Oscars.
I remember seeing commercials for like Friday the 13th and even Nightmare on Elm Street. It's less about the scares, but more about how people die. And I think this movie is kind of in that realm. It's about the deaths more than about the scares.
No, absolutely. It is more about these sort of very contrived and over the top, like gruesome, gory scenes and near death scenes. And look, that's what makes it fun. I assume that this will be out on video on demand pretty shortly. It may even be on video on demand, or what they call in theaters at home. When I scroll through my like Vudu, and I'm like, well, what's in theaters at home, right? Like, and so look, I think that's a good model for a lot of small indie movies to get released. So I chose to see it in a theater because why the hell not? Because what else is opening today? Cyrano. We'll talk about Cyrano. We'll talk about Cyrano in a minute. Yeah. But before we do that, let's actually go back into the chat here. And Michael Quaid says, "I'm not really into the evil spirit terror type stuff." Look, it's not so deep into that. I feel like Evil Dead does a really good job of that. And this is just like Dave Grohl's possessed. And then that's it. That's the rest of the movie.
No, I mean, that was pretty much the pitch. I'm possessed and I'm going to make a movie.
Yeah, exactly. And he also says that is scary as it ever gets for me is a Ryan rant. I'm sure he's talking about Ryan Cannell from RK Outpost. Cameron Belt says the only horror movie I actually liked was Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is great. Super fun. A great horror movie with a twist.
Well, the question is which one?
Yeah, exactly. Henning Allers says hello and good morning from Germany. Hello. Hello, Germany.
Guten Tag.
You're doing well. And I'm not even looking at these comments before I post them, but Zaxi says I might have to check this movie out, like the more comedic horror movie. And I do enjoy the Foo Fighters. Look, it's all the things you love. Foo Fighters, horror, a movie that you don't have to pay attention to fully so you can actually have some, adult beverage or something to expand the experience. Up to you.
Every time you say Foo Fighters, I'm reminded of Robot Chicken, Mr. T and the Foo Fighters, because Mr. T doesn't like fighting no foos.